Welcome to Forms Night. I am sad that I can't be there with you in person preparing for the best 5 days of the summer. But I'm sure Dominic shared with you that I am sharing this information with you via video because I hopefully, as you're watching this, am home cuddling with the baby that I'm currently 40 weeks pregnant with. So I'm joining you virtually this evening, but yeah, we're going to hit all the high points and go from there. For starters, I just wanted to share, some of you probably know this already, but with the arrival of baby Bednar, I will be taking a step back from St. Michael's as a youth minister. My husband and I will be moving from the Kansas City area to start raising our family in a small little town. But the next youth minister has just been hired, Emma Grogine. Many of you are probably familiar with her. And I'm so excited for what the Lord is going to do through her, through this ministry. So as we get started, know that I will be coming on Steubenville this summer, myself and my baby girl. But I'll be leaving shortly after that. So let's get into it. You can go ahead and grab the packet that you got when you first arrived, and we are just going to get started. When you open it up, you'll just find a quick little letter from Dominic and I to both the teens and the parents. I invite you to read that maybe later this evening when you get home. On the next page, then, you'll find a breakdown of our theme for this summer. So our theme comes to us from Deuteronomy 4:24, which says, "For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God." When we're at the conference, we'll be focusing in on that word consumed, what it means to be consumed by love of the Lord, consumed for Him, and to live our lives from that space. And then when we go to Sky Ranch, we're going to continue breaking down the very last part of that verse, which titles God as a jealous God, which in Hebrew is Elkanah. Elkanah. This is a characteristic of God that talks about how He made us for Himself, and He wants us totally for Himself. His love for us is jealous. Not in the way that we usually think of jealousy, but in an all-consuming, passionate, fiery sort of way. And so we're excited to be able to break down this theme this summer at Steubenville. So again, feel free to read through more of this to kind of get a little bit more of a glimpse of what we're going to be talking about this summer. If you continue flipping through your booklet, you'll find a letter from Father Brian, words from the heart of our pastor. You'll find a letter from Shannon Schmidt, who is the mother of Rebecca, one of our graduating seniors. And Shannon has actually had at least one of her kids go on Steubenville every summer since 2012, and she'll be joining us as a core team member this summer. So words of wisdom from her, check those out. And then a letter from Kennedy Zellers, who's one of our rising seniors this year. So again, I invite you to read those when you get home this evening, just words of encouragement as we continue to prepare for, again, the best 5 days of the summer. If you keep flipping open your packet, you'll land in the very center. And we're going to take a moment and go over the schedule, the packing list, and the code of conduct here. So this is going to be the bulk of our conversation. So let's start with the schedule. We start out here bright and early on July 18th. Check-in starts at 7 a.m. Goes from 7 to 7:45. Keep in mind, we've got 134 teens to make it through check-in. So we ask that you get here promptly. Do not wait and show up at 7:45. Get here as early as possible so we can be as efficient as possible, right? We've got a lot of people to get through check-in. As part of check-in, there will be a bag check, which we'll talk about again in a moment when we get to the packing list. We'll start with 7 o'clock check-in. Then we'll have Mass at 7:45. This will be a big send-off Mass. Parents and families, you're absolutely invited to join us for that Mass. Following Mass, we will say goodbye, we love you, and we'll see you again Tuesday. And everybody going on the trip will head downstairs where the Knights of Columbus will have made us a wonderful send-off breakfast. We'll be together, we'll hear a witness from a teen, and then we will get on the bus for the first time. We'll actually head to St. Joseph's, a parish in Springfield, Missouri. So before we actually get to the conference, we stop and we have what we call a life afternoon. This is where we have our Chick-fil-A lunch. This is where teens get the chance to meet their small groups for the first time. We just kind of lay the ground for the trip. Also during this time, we have 3 women who are on the trip, and we call them our trip moms. And we call them the trip moms because they do all of the wonderful, incredible behind-the-scenes things that moms are just so darn good at. And they actually go to the conference, get our entire group checked in, get our room keys, get our name tags, get our meal bands, and then they come back, help us get those distributed to everybody, and then we head to the conference. So we have an incredibly large group going. There are, get this, 176 total souls that will be with us. Well, 177 if you count this little gal. She's coming too. And so we've got a massive group compared to most other parishes that are going. And so that's kind of why we have that time in there. So after we finish all of that up at St. Joe's, we will get back on the bus. We'll head to the conference. When we get to the conference at Missouri State University, we will unload the bus, send everybody to take their things to their rooms, and yeah, then we're on the conference schedule from there on out. So at the conference there will be talks, adoration, praise and worship, small group time, free time, just time to run, play, meet people from all over the Midwest. It is awesome. So we just kind of enter into that schedule there until noon. There is a send-off mass at noon, or before noon, but we'll wrap things up at the conference at noon, and then that's when we'll get ready for the second part of our trip. So many groups that are going go to the conference and then go home, and that's it. But we know and we've seen that after the end of the conference, the Lord still has things that he wants to do, and hearts are still being changed. And so we actually get back on the bus after lunch. That's when we have our Jimmy John's lunch. We get back on the bus. We're actually only halfway done with the trip. From there, we're going to head to a little place in Oklahoma called Sky Ranch. And yeah, that's where the trip really takes a turning point. Sky Ranch is all about relationship, continuing to receive and invest in relationship with the Lord, and continuing to be in relationship with the people in our community. Regardless of how long you've been part of the SMA community, how many times you've been on Steubenville, there are absolutely people that will be on this trip that you've never met before. And the friendships that come from these 5 days are life-changing, absolutely life-changing. And so Sky Ranch is all about play and giving times for those relationships to continue to unfold. So that's where you'll get to do the activities that you marked at registration, like zip lining, skeet shooting, paintballing. There's also a lake. There's a massive slip and slide. There's a big old blob. There are pickleball courts. I mean, any sort of outdoor play you're wanting to do, there's opportunities for it there. So that's what we do at Sky Ranch. There's also, more talks, more time for adoration, more time for small groups. Again, more time for relationships with the Lord and with others to continue to unfold. So I'll wrap that time up on Tuesday. Around 11 is when we will depart. We will then stop in Pittsburgh, Kansas for lunch. There's like a Taco Bell, Freddy's, Subway, I think maybe a McDonald's, just kind of all those sorts of restaurants all right there together. So we'll stop for lunch on our way back, and we'll arrive back at St. Michael's around 2:45, 3 p.m. on Tuesday the 22nd. So that's what the schedule looks like. We're going to go ahead and flip over then to the packing list. So the packing list, pretty self-explanatory. One thing to absolutely highlight, to note, one person in each room will need to bring an air mattress. There are only 2 mattresses in each room, but in order to make the absolute most out of the conference, the conference puts 3 people in every room. And so we ask that one person brings an air mattress. They don't have to be the person that sleeps on it. You can rotate through both nights, but one person in each room needs to bring an air mattress. If you need help coordinating with your roommates, reach out to us and we'll help connect you with your roommates so you can figure out who's going to be the one bringing the air mattress. Second, note that you will need a non-metal water bottle and your bag for, you need a clear bag rather than a normal backpack. Again, we have to abide by the conference policies, the stadium policies, and so those are things to note there. At the bottom, you'll find a don't pack this stuff list. And again, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to do a bag check at St. Michael's at check-in. And so, yeah, in the presence of the teen and one parent, we won't go through your stuff. We'll simply ask you to confirm that you don't have any of these things on the do not pack list. And unfortunately, if we find on the trip that you do have any of these things, we'll send you home ASAP. It's hard. It's sad. It's an incredibly difficult phone call that I don't want to have to make. And so, please, we just ask that you respect and abide by the do not pack list. Next to that, you'll see the dress code. Something to note on the dress code is that everyone will wear a t-shirt at the lake. Both guys and girls, everybody will wear a t-shirt at the lake. And if at any point you're wearing anything that doesn't follow the dress code, we'll very kindly ask you to change. Things to note at the bottom down here, like we talked about on the schedule, we'll stop for a meal in Pittsburgh, so you'll be responsible for buying one meal. You can also have additional money if you want any merch or snacks or anything like that. We will have snacks. That actually is something to note on the packing list. We ask that everybody brings an individually box of packaged snacks, so think a box of chips, a box of individual packs of Cheez-Its, a box of individually packed peanut butter crackers or fruit snacks, things like that, that we'll have to hand out to everybody throughout the conference. But if you want anything else, you can absolutely bring money. And then cell phones. We will collect cell phones as your ticket onto the bus when we get to Sky Ranch, or as we head to Sky Ranch. This is for a few reasons. One, there's really not that great of cell service at Sky Ranch anyways. 2, there are way too many opportunities for a phone to get broken or lost or just utterly shattered, and we quite frankly don't want that liability. And 3, we know that in the world that we live in, that cell phones can be a huge barrier to community. And so we want to remove as much of that barrier as we possibly can. And so we'll collect those on our way to Sky Ranch. Parents, if at any point you need to contact us, we'll be providing you with the phone numbers of the youth ministers as well as contact numbers for each of the locations that we'll be at. From here, you can go ahead and flip to the next page, to the Code of Conduct. And I just want to go over this really quickly. first and foremost, our number one job on this trip is to keep you safe, to make sure that you get home with both arms and both legs and most of your teeth and very minimal scars and scratches on your body. We absolutely 100% believe that Jesus is going to show up, that he's going to do big things, that he's going to change hearts. But we need to keep you safe and healthy in order to create a space for him to do that. And so everything on the code of conduct is ultimately for that purpose. So first and foremost, be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. This is 100% true and most notable for Lights Out. We will take Lights Out very, very seriously. We need you in your rooms when you're supposed to be there. Second, we ask that you follow the dress code. We talked about that a moment ago. Next, be a person of joy. Be uplifting, be positive. Don't bring the stuff you shouldn't bring. We talked about the do not pack list. Again, if at any point we find anything that shouldn't be there, we will be calling your parents, even if it's at 3 a.m. We'll do what we have to do because, again, if the safest place for you is at home with your parents, then we're going to do what we need to do in order to make that happen. We want you to be safe, we want you to be healthy, and we want everyone on the trip to be safe and healthy. Next, electronics, leave them at home. I don't care about your PS whatever. I don't care about your Xbox. Leave them at home. We don't want them. And then finally at the bottom here, consequences for breaking the code of conduct. Again, if any of these are broken, if we have problems, we will unfortunately send you home. And I don't want to do that. It's not a fun phone call to make. Don't make us call. I'm going to be up taking care of a baby anyways, so. Okay, we can go ahead and flip to the next page. Here are just the trip locations, just so parents, you know where those are. And then here you'll find 2 apps to download. So in the past, we've used GroupMe for communication. This year, we're going to be using the My Parish app. And then the Church Center app is where all of the conference information will be. So teens, if you have a phone, if you're bringing a phone, just make sure to have both of these apps downloaded, as they'll be very helpful through the duration of the conference. And then finally, our last spread of pages here are just some advertisements for different events that we have going on throughout the summer. Particularly notable here, parents, on Saturday night while we're at the conference praying, we want you at St. Michael's praying for us as well, praying and having your own encounter with Jesus, actually. There will be an opportunity for prayer, intercession, encounter, community. There will be a food truck. So please come pray for us while we are at the conference. Our contact information is here on the back. Know that we're praying for each and every single one of you by name. All 42 core members that are going on the trip, all 42 adults that will be there, are praying for you by name. We love you so much, and we cannot wait to see what Jesus is going to do through these 5 days. Thanks.